So today, we're gonna do a tier list on what? Well, as you can see, it's VTuber corporations. Are there more than just these? Absolutely. Did I do the research to find them? No, I didn't. Is this an excuse to bitch more about Nijisanji? Maybe. Let's get into it. With the first contender, Nijisanji themselves. Where would I put them? Yes, I'm actually gonna think for a minute. Because here's a little tidbit. They weren't always shit, and I do love quite a few of their talents. So if we're judging them overall, they're trash. Because while I love the talents, that does not excuse anything at all that the corporation has done. Yes, I am aware on Twitter they released a statement that was like, we're canceling a tournament so we can look after the well-being of our talents, but if you believe that, you are a sheep and are like being bamboozled, because there is no way in hell that they've suddenly decided to turn over a new leaf and suddenly become the VTuber corporation of the future. No, it does not work like that. So take it, like, do not believe them, okay? Keep holding them accountable. Do not let them put this behind them. They need to suffer, not the talents. Again, even Doki herself said, no bullying and harassing. And I stand by that. But the corporation, they don't count as people. I'm sorry. No functional human being with a soul would ever condone the shit they've done, okay? I'm pretty sure they're owned by, like, the devil, okay? Or something. Or, like, that random guy from Facebook that keeps adding you every freaking day or whatever. That waste of space, pretty much. So, yes, Nijisanji, still shit tier, and they still evoke emotions of rage in me. Emotions that I cannot even begin to comprehend. But I already have a whole video on that. If you want to have if you want another ranting video, let me know. I'll gladly oblige. But let's go into something a little more wholesome. Hololive. Hololive is what got me into VTubers to begin with. I forget how I got it. I think it was like a clip that showed up, and it was like a clip of Pecora, and she was being her Minecraft troll self, and I'm like, ooh, what's this? And I was like, ooh, this is kind of nuts. And then I fell down the rabbit hole, quite literally. And Hololive was my introduction to VTubers as a whole. I had seen snippets from VTubers before that, with Kazuna Ai and stuff, and the anime man in his interview with her. But I never really put much thought into it until the pandemic. Might have been a little bit before that, actually. So, yes. Hololive, in terms of the talents, in terms of Yagu or Tanigo Yagu, they are great. They treat their talents well. They give them extended breaks when they need mental health recuperation. They care about their talents as people. They pay them well. They built a giant studio for them. The only caveat with Hololive that I think makes them fall short of S tier is, for one, the idols only get limited influence on what their model looks like. They don't get to decide that, so that's not in their ballpark. And it's a little too strict for me. Like, you have to... There's certain things you can't say. You can't name drop certain things. You need permissions for games. And there's a lot of red tape, and it's very Corpo, but, like, the PR is good. The PR is good. It's a healthy environment, as far as we know, but I think it is. Because Kiara and Fubuki are both very outspoken individuals who would come forward if the opposite was true. But because of the small caveats of, like, not having full control over your model and other things, I'm going to have to give Hololive an A tier. Idol Corp. Man, S tier immediately. Do you want to know why? Here, allow me to explain why. Idol Corp not only allows the talent to have full creative freedom over what their model looks like, but they even allow them to choose what artists they want. And then Idol Corp pays for that. 100%, they pay for it. And there's the monetization values. 70-30. 70 goes to the idol, 30 goes to idol. But idol doesn't just pocket that money. They take that money and they put it back into the company to pay for artists, to pay for models, to pay for concerts, to pay for like any kind of business expense. They go straight back into the company to support the talents. So in all honesty, 100% of their earnings go back into the company to help the talents. They're very freedom loving. They are very open. When Rio Ron got terminated, they were very clear on why. They listed every single reason why, and they were transparent. They were respectful, and they are 100% a company that is worth following. And not to mention that aside Doki Bird, Yuko Yurei, and Poco Raccoon are my Oshi. So, you know, but there's, while they are S tier, I've been waiting over a year for my Yuko Yurei merch. Not a year, but almost. So, like, oh god, they really need to get on that. Next, Phase Connect. I don't know Phase Connect as much as other ones. I know Pippa, and I know Tenma, and I know Remilia Neffes, because obviously I know the one Toho nerd. I see a lot more clips of them. I don't really dive into them. But I do know that Sakana is very passionate about VTubers, and he's very passionate about running his company, to the point that when he was accused of not knowing how to handle a girl's heart, he actually went out of his way to hire a talent manager who was female who could handle that for him. So he didn't, like, brush over the concerns. He's like, no, I'm gonna handle this in a mature way. And yeah, it's memed that he has a bunch of like unhinged girls under him, but you can tell they all love him and he loves them. And it was funny because the origins were, like Pippa said, this random sketch guy messaged me. He was like, hey, do you want to be part of a corporation? And she was like, this seems like a scam. I'm going to sign up, though, anyways. Turned out to be legit. And now that they have a new Japanese branch, I think they very well may be on their way to replacing Nijisanji as the next big Corpo right next to Hololive. Because not only are they very freedom in their content, like, do you see some of the things Tenma and Pippa say? Like, oh my god, that's like indie levels of freedom. So, in terms of freedom, Phase Connect is definitely up there. Not as much as our next pick, but they are an easy, in terms of overall, easy S tier. Vshojo. Now, individual members aside, because I know they've had drama in the past, overall, great company. Because, for example, Koro, or as some may know him, Mista. Yeah, I'm not afraid to show the people their new identities, okay? Because, like, that's an open seat. And I'm not saying to go into his chat and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just saying, if you don't know where Mista went, there he is. So the thing with him is, him and Matara, and I won't say Matara's name because I think she's a little more strict on that, but they both had a hard time in Nijisanji when they were there. And Mista, or Koro in particular, had monetary problems, and he was having trouble. But while asking around for help, Iron Mouse, who he only knew in passing, decided to help him out and actually approached him. And so did the founder, well, CEO of Vshojo. And he was like, you know what, I can help you with that. And he had no incentive to help Koro at that time. So you can imagine why Koro later ended up joining Vshojo, because he was showed that kindness that he was not shown anywhere else. Vshojo is like a gathering point for people who are rejected by society. It's kind of like fairy tale in a way. Do I agree with some of their past actions? No, but they've gotten better. And I think in terms of like they're not really Corpo if you think about it, because not only will they help you make a model, but you get to keep all of that when you leave. And that is one of their biggest perks, that you get to keep your intellectual property. You get to keep your model, you get to keep your name, you get to keep everything you ever did there. You just no longer have the Vshojo label, and I like that a lot. And that's one of their biggest perks. And for that reason, I think Vshojo is also S tier. I'm sorry, Hololive. You couldn't do it. I'm sorry. But that's pretty much all I got for this tier list. So if you liked what you saw here, let me know. I'll be back with more content in the future that's hopefully more inspired. Until next time, everybody. Goodbye.